Hello guys, this is Frames here. Welcome to my new video. We are going to make this fading animation. It is more clear in my video number 7. I also use the same set of same material and everything in there. It is not my original .blend file, as in my previous attempt to record this tutorial I overwrote that original file with the new tutorial file. It has happened with me multiple times. So yeah guys, don't do that mistake. So yeah, if it was there I would provide it in my download link. You can get the original copy. You could have it. You will get this .blend file rather. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Nothing is much different. So yeah. Without wasting any time, let's start a new file this time. Control N, General. Don't save it. If I just enable my add-on, you won't have this. Don't worry about it. Yeah, increase this a bit. We are going to do the unthinkable and unimaginable and not delete the default cube, and just move it in the z-axis by 1 meter. Yes, as you can see, it is perfectly on the ground plane. The bottom face is perfectly in the ground plane. Okay, we can start making the effect now. I am going to use shade editor. Under here, shade editor, I am going to completely use shade editor and not use geometry nodes or anything, so you can use lower versions of Blender. I am using 3.1. Nothing new is added to 3.1, so don't worry, and I am not going to use any new nodes. Watch it in rendered view. If we can just delete the principled BSDF. I didn't even know that the default cube had a material. Turns out it does. So delete the principled BSDF, and we are not going to use this lamp. Instead, we are going to use a HDRI. Under environment world, like scene world, is this background. Yeah, sorry. In the color, in this yellow dot, click there. The environment texture. Then open. Choose the HDRI from your folders. Yes. All HDRIs, Autumn Park. I'm going to use this Autumn Park HDRI. Let's just add a new material for a while. Something principled, so it's not annoying and showing the black thing. It is annoying still. It doesn't matter. As you can see, I have this HDRI is applied to the environment. I got it from HDRI 7. I guess it has changed the website name or got deleted, the HDRI 7 website, Haven website. So I will provide this HDRI in the downloads link. I will provide all the assets and the files you need to create this. Yeah, we will now, as you can see, the HDRI is still visible, but we don't need that, don't want that. It is visible in the final render also. So what we'll do in the renders tab, and yeah, before that, we will use cycles. We will use cycles as we have to work with volumes, and I don't like volumes in Eevee. Eevee in the cycles render engine under film, check transparent. It will not show the HDRI, but what it does affect the final render a bit. So what it does is it makes the image transparent where there is no object to show. So the alpha channel of that part of the image will be 0, which we don't really want. We can use the compositor to fill in the gaps, but it's bad. I don't like it. So what we will do is add a ground plane. Add like shift A mesh and plane and scale it up. So the advantage of this is, what is the scale? Oh, it's minus. No, yeah. What it does is it catches the shadows. In the compositor, if we don't catch a shadow, so it is better. We can go in camera view when I'm up at 0, and if I just hide the ground plane, you can see as we have lifted the default cube by 1 meter. Relatively the camera is 1 meter lower, so it is not centered. So we will just move the camera by 1 meter in the z-axis, so it is centered now. And if we unhide some alt touch will bring back all the hidden items. The ground plane will be visible. It is also centered now. What we can do is move it in x and y axis and scale it down. So all this empty space which the plane was occupying before, it is not calculated by the renderer, so the rendering will be faster slightly, but everything counts. So yeah, we'll give the plane a new material and put it just darker. Yeah, it is blue because if I enable transparent for just a bit, as you can see, the plane is reflecting the sky and it is looking blue. Yeah, it is not really a problem, but yeah. And one issue you will notice, as the bottom face of this cube and the plane are perfectly at the same position, it doesn't calculate that, doesn't know that there is a plane here. Instead it thinks that there is a slice of the cube here. So what we can do is select the cube and move it in the z-axis very slightly, and now you can see if we go to solid mode, you can see there is no cube visible from the bottom here. Yeah, so it will be better. Otherwise there will be a black patch here. You can see the black patch in the final render in my video number 7. That was a mistake. If you fix like move it just a bit, there won't be any patches. So yeah, for the fading effect we have to create, we are going to delete the principled BSDF and use a volume, principled volume, principled volume. Yeah. We'll change the properties of it later. We will add a noise texture. Noise texture here. If we if we if we if you look at the noise texture by control shift clicking this node, when 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 the node wrangler add-on is enabled, and you click control shift on a node, it will directly show the node's output. So you can change the properties and all the things quickly from for the render. We are going to use the scale 2. What the noise texture does is it assigns a value in 3D space to every point. Let's say a value from 0 to 1. As you can see, let's hide it so it's faster. So yeah, as you can see, it has created black and white spots or waves really in the thing. So if we look at the principal volume and input the factor into the density, what it does is the white parts of the cube will be higher density and the black parts of the cube will be low density. You can't really see it, but it is. If we want to make the density overall a bit higher, we can add a math node. Add it in the on the line, and under this drop down we have to select multiply. So if the other value is 0.5, it is dividing the initial value by 2, by multiplying the initial value by 0.5 really. So it is negatively affecting it. We have to increase the value to 2 to double its density overall. So the lower parts also is getting multiplied by 2, and the high density parts are also getting affected by it. So it affects overall. And another thing, if we use a texture coordinate node, let's add that. This vector we can connect to anything. I chose object as I found out by default. Actually it uses the generated vectors coordinates, or yeah, really generated coordinates by default. If you have not connected it even, it is by default using the generated coordinates. I found out the object coordinates looks a little better for this object. It just changes the shape in which the fading occurs, so it doesn't really matter. You can choose whatever you want. You can choose different things for different objects to make them fade away more beautifully. Yeah. And if we add a math node here in between the multiply and the noise texture, and put it to greater than, what it does is any volume having the density lower than the 0.5, this threshold, is getting 0, is getting deleted. So yeah, anything with the density 0.5 or lower, or maybe 0.5 or higher, stays, and others get deleted. So if we like move it slowly, as you can see, it already has created this fading effect. If you put it to 0, it will show everything. Of course it makes sense. And enable the plane again. It is 100, right? Yeah. And if you can choose something like greenish yellow or something. In the video I chose blue, but I found out that the blue in the ground plane and the blue color of the cube kind of matches each other and doesn't look good. You can choose opposite colors, yellow or something. We are going to choose greenish yellow, so it's a little bit better to see. It looks better. Yeah. Mm. As you can see, it already looks better than my video. If you turn it off, you can clearly see it. So whatever, so in the video you can see that the fading occurs gradually. To achieve that, what I have done is keyframed it or animated this threshold value. I'll show you how to do that in a bit, but first we can set how long our video is going to be. We will choose 48 frames as a default FPS is 24, and we want a 2-second video. We will use 48 frames, so it will give us a 2-second video. So at the first frame, you can press shift left arrow to get to the first frame. I will add a keyframe here by pressing I. Then at the last frame, shift right arrow, and the last frame put it to 1 and then press I again. It has created a keyframe at the ending of the animation and the starting of the animation. We can't see that in the timeline, but we can see it in the dope sheet. Where is that? Yeah, dope sheet. We can see it in the dope sheet. It has created a keyframe here and a keyframe here. So starting at the end of the animation, and you can see that as the animation plays, the threshold value increases from 0 to 1, and at the same time, if you think it makes sense, the fading is occurring. It slowly fades away. And if you want to make the fading go slower, you can increase the number of frames and move the keyframes to make it slower, of course. This looks good, right? You can see a shadow here because of the HDRI. In the HDRI there was a sun, so the sun cast a shadow here. So interesting, right? That's it actually. You can choose the output folder. After you have all set up this, you can choose in which file format the rendered image rendered image or movie or video, I guess, will be saved. I usually choose image format, PNG or JPEG. Mostly put it to PNG, I guess. Yeah, so what it does is, after as soon as the rendering of one frame is over, it saves the frame in the folder defined here. You can change it if you want. uh, Folder. So even if the rendering crashes in between, you have got, if the rendering crashes, for example, on 22nd frame, that from first frame to the 21st frame, you have got all the images rendered, so you have not lost them, and you can resume it again on the 22nd to 48 to get all them again. So I choose the PNG. For the movie formats, it's not like that. You lose the all the before things. So I like to use a PNG first. You can select the output by clicking this folder icon, save it wherever you want, and it will render. And you can choose the sampling rates. I don't use denoise or the noise threshold. Don't like them. The denoise creates patches. If the sample is low, and if you using volumes, you'll see some patches in the denoise. So set the samples according to your computer and the time and the complexity of your scene. Set it to what makes sense. I guess 2 or 1 maybe for me. Okay, now we can, and there is no patch. Now if we, like, under render animation, it started rendering from frame 1, right? It will do that 2 samples for me. If you are the sample, you have to select. Yeah, after rendering the every frame, what it does is, I can show you in the folder you have selected. It creates this thing. It renders out everything here, every image separately. As you can see, there was a patch here. It should be fixed by the moving the cube. So you can after rendering and getting all the frames separately, you can use my other tutorial in which I explain how to put all those images into one video file using Blender, not any other software, in the format you want. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and this is my third attempt recording it.